In this video, I am going to be going over the best weapons that you should be using in Delta Force's Operations mode, also known as the Extraction mode. Now, when I say the best weapon, I'm going to be judging this by 3 criteria. The first one is the time to kill, the second one is the recoil control, and then the third one is the price. You want to buy something that isn't going to break the bank, right? And with all of that in mind, I have ultimately ended up putting the QBZ 951 in first place, and this is why. So that was 62% accuracy, and I shot a few extra shots at the end there in the top left, you can see it. So that is not so bad at all for 50 meters, and this person is wearing red armor and I'm using green ammo. So this thing is an absolute laser beam, and by the way, these weapons aren't modified in any way. This is a completely unmodified weapon. So this is how it comes out of the box, right? So if I shoot at the wall here, you'll see the pattern is going to go up and then up and right. So it goes up for like the first half of the mag, then it goes up and right for the second half of the mag. Once you know that, because it's got like a somewhat slow fire rate, it's really not that difficult to control, which does allow you to just absolutely beam people from a pretty like distant range. Its time to kill is good. I think it's high middle. The recoil pattern is obviously quite good, and it's also not that pricey, and therefore it is going to be number 1 on the list. Now, the second one is the SG552. Now, this was a kind of a close second, but the reason I think the QBZ was better is because this thing has a little bit more of a shaky recoil pattern. So if I'm up close and I want to hit this person in the head lots of times, that's absolutely no problem. But if I want to try and shoot this person over here that's 50 meters away lots of times, I'm gonna struggle a little bit more than I would with the QBZ. And I can't really prevent that, because if you look at the fire rate, it's so fast that you can't really control it. Because what happens here is, like, it goes up and right a little bit, up and then up and left a little bit. So that's just super hard to control. If I just go straight down, you'll see there is still like quite a lot of dispersion there, which isn't fantastic. So if you're trying to use this at the closer ranges, you're gonna have a very good time. This will absolutely work out pretty well. If you're trying to use it at the longer ranges, I think you are going to struggle just a little bit more, but I do still think it's better than like any of the other weapons in the game right now, which is why it's number 2 on the list. Its time to kill is solid. The recoil pattern is solid. And, you know, if you want to make the recoil pattern better, then of course you can, because you can just come in here and modify it and give it a whole lot of plus recoil stats. And it is also very cheap. It's a very cheap gun to buy, so this is like a very good weapon to go for if you really don't have that much money. And then in third place is everything else. So I've tried out all of these weapons in this firing range, and I tried to find something that was, you know, somewhat close to the SG552 or the QBZ 951, and I just couldn't. The only one that came a little bit close was the so it wasn't the Kar 15, the M16A4, but this is a burst weapon, and even though it's okay at the closer ranges, kind of like the SG552, what's going to happen at the longer ranges is, you know, you get a little bit of shake on there, which can make it a little bit difficult to aim properly. If you put some recoil reduction on this thing and you give it a scope, it's going to be pretty solid, but also it's a burst weapon, so I feel like it doesn't really count. And then aside from that, I really don't think there's anything else that's as good. I think the AUG is supposed to be okay. No, the AUG, which is famously supposed to be like the gun that you use if you don't want to have recoil, has more recoil than the QBZ or the SG552. So those are going to be the best 2 weapons to use. And then aside from those, if they get nerfed, then I'm not too sure what's going to be next, but I feel like everything else would be much closer together if the SG552 and the QBZ51 were nerfed, or if like other stuff was buffed. But right now, lots of guns definitely have a lot of recoil on them. Even if you put a load of like recoil boosting attachments on them, they still have a lot of recoil. So that's something I'm not super happy about. Like with the M4A1, one time I fully modified this to have like plus, I think I got it to plus 99 recoil, and it still had a lot of recoil. So right now the QBZ 951 and the SG 552 are going to be the best weapons to use, because they have good time to kills, they aren't super duper mega expensive, and their recoil patterns are pretty easy to manage. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be it for this video. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Farewell.